I always thought I was going to win the lottery. And at that moment was the precise moment when I needed this money. It happened at that same moment.
You're telling me that you manifested $50,000?
Exactly. And this has happened to me before. There was a year that I won over $200,000. You're like, wow, look at this. Look at what just happened to me. And then you step back and you say, wait, what can I learn from this?
Whenever I hear these sort of things, I manifested it, I had a vision, and I won, I'm always skeptical.
Your reaction is going to be so much different when you learn this technique because you're going to see life completely different. The more you say you don't have money, the more the universe says, exactly, you don't have money, so let me give you more of that. Now you have less money. You have to live life. You can't let life live you. There's 3 aspects in life, your relationship, your health, and your wealth. How do you connect to those 3 and try to make them as balanced as possible?
Were you in a place of desperation or contentment or somewhere in the middle when this win happened? Sandra Roman, I'm so happy you reached out because you have an incredible story. How did you win the lottery?
So basically what happened to me was that I always thought I was going to win the lottery. And so what I would do is every time there was a check, I would write a check and I would sign it in the bank. I would say to myself, I'm signing my lottery check. And of course, everybody would laugh. My husband, my kids, my family members. And I was like, don't worry about it. I got this. And sure enough, it took a while, but I knew it was going to happen. And so I did. I won the Fantasy 5 in 2013. It was about 50 and change. It was either 52 or 57,000. I was showing a property to one of my clients and she was late. And so I just checked my numbers like I usually do. And when I checked my numbers, they all came out. And I told my husband, I just won the fantasy. And he goes, what? And I go, yeah, I just won the fantasy. And then my client pulls up and I'm like, and I'm going to go show this property now. And he goes, are you kidding me? And I go, yes, because I knew this was going to happen. So I went up, I showed my property. I told my client, she went crazy. And I just thanked the universe for connecting to my manifestation. And at that moment was the precise moment when I needed this money because we had just bought a home. The home was in a really good area, but I called this home the Amityville Horror because it was a disaster. You had to redo the whole entire. And I was saying to myself, okay, how am I going to get the money to do all this? Because I hate to owe money. And so it happened at that same moment. So it was perfect. But then again, like I always say, when you manifest, you have to already live that. Like it's already happening, like envisioning it, you're getting the ticket, you want it, you're going to the office where you have to give your ID, everything and make it as real as possible not faking it, like real. Why? Because, you should be blessed regardless because we're alive.
Sandra, you're telling me that you manifested $50,000 and you did so by just imagining every time you signed a check, no matter what, you would sign it as if you're signing your lottery check? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And this has happened to me before, in other instances where I have won, where I have gone to the casino. And this is not advocating going to the casino because remember, that is a business and you can't take it too seriously because they're in it to win. But if you know how to manifest and you actually believe in what you're saying, what you're thinking, and what you speak is very important. It will happen because in the casino, I've won many times when I have this feeling that, oh, I think I should go today to the casino, and I've won. There was a year that I won over $200,000.
Holy smokes. What were
Yeah,
you playing?
just random machines that would just call me and like that's it. I would put $40 and I would win the jackpot. But always centered in knowing that you have the power to do anything.
Okay, we're going to take a time out here, okay? I want to give you what my bias is.
Mhm.
Whenever I hear these sort of things, I manifested it, I had a vision, and I won, I'm always skeptical. And I want to
Right.
say this up front so that we understand each other here. I
Mhm.
am so open to other people's beliefs. I've had experiences in my life where I'm sure people would not believe, but by some miracle, something
Mhm.
that I was really hoping for happened. But it was, through prayer, and that's what my beliefs are. Some people might hear me and go, "I don't believe in that stuff." So, can you explain to me exactly what you mean by manifesting this stuff?
Okay, so basically, there's everybody's really busy and we're always chattering, we're always running, and we're glorifying this type of lifestyle. So I believe that this is my teachings and this is what I teach all of my students. I want to say is that you need to learn how to be in silence. Because when you're in silence is when you're most connected to the creator and to this frequency that I choose to call love, which is what I believe is God or the creator or nature is what I feel. And so when you just sit in silence for at least 3 minutes, then you're centered, and anything that you want to manifest and you do it on a continuous basis and you feel that emotion as if it is real, it's bound to happen. I'm not going to say 100%, but I can say for my personal experience, it has been 100%. That every time that I have wanted to manifest something and I do connect to the infinite power of the universe, which we all have it, it's not that I'm special, is that I choose to connect to this frequency, it will happen. 100%. It will happen. You just have to believe in how powerful we are. Because remember, we're a human being, but we're spiritual beings more than anything else. So we have to connect the two together, and that's what happens with us in general, because we're not perfect, and we sometimes skip altogether the spiritual part of us, and then that's when we lose ourselves. You see more people that are wealthy lost than those that are poor. Why is that? Because material things will not get you what your true purpose is, which is you want to be connected. We're here for connection to one another and to ourselves, The relationship that you have with yourself is the most intimate relationship you're ever going to have with anyone. And once you have that connection with yourself, then you bring about that to everybody that you meet.
And we're going to go ahead and dive into this reality of manifestation for you because I want to understand every single element of it. But first, I want to go back to a little bit what you were describing about where you were in life when this manifestation revealed itself into the actual world with you winning $50,000 in the Fantasy 5 state lottery over there in Florida. What were your life circumstances? And leading up to this, you talked about buying a home. What was your daily life like? Is this a practice in envisioning and manifesting and connecting that you did every single day? And how long have you been doing it?
Well, manifestation is something that you should do daily, not just to acquire money, but also for relationships, for the world, for people that you know that are in need, for circumstances in your life that you don't understand what are happening to you, so you can have clarity. And the way that you have clarity is in silence. In total silence, it's very difficult. People think it's, oh yeah, yeah, let me just be and try to do it. Try to do this that I'm saying this evening, if you can, or your beautiful audience that's listening to us. Just try to sit in a place for 3 minutes and just be in total silence. It's very difficult, but once you start doing this every day, then you create this sense of peace and connection.
Were
And
you
you're gonna feel.
Yeah, were you in a place of desperation or contentment or somewhere in the middle when this win happened?
That's a great question. Why? Because a lot of people seek to have different things or they want to manifest something and they're doing out of lack. When you do things out of lack, you're in a very low frequency. And so that's not going to get you very far. It's like, the more you say you don't have money, the more the universe says, exactly, you don't have money. So let me give you more of that. Now you have less money. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm.
So you can't connect to that lack. You have to always live in appreciation of everything that is. And once you have that and you are good with what you have, then everything else will come to you. It's like if you have a job that you're not happy with, you can't go to that job every day saying, I hate my job. I need it. You can't do that because that will bring you more of the same. But if you say to yourself, okay, I have this job, it's not the best job, but I know there's a better job out there and I'm going to manifest this job that I want. But I'm grateful for what I have right now. See, that's in another frequency. You're shifting everything into a higher purpose, which is what we are.
So for people who are, let's say, they're totally in tune with what you're saying, and they're like, Sandra, yes, absolutely. I believe this. I practice this. I try to manifest and meditate and be in silence. And I have not, won the lottery or by some miraculous, chain of events have had the thing that I was trying to manifest. Are they doing something wrong? Is it, from your experience, does the universe have a huge repository of these people who are trying to manifest? And is there some order to it for people who are wondering, hey, I've been doing this for a long time, so far no luck, not just for the lottery, but in any other thing that I'm either praying for or trying to manifest? What's your message to them?
No, I do feel that if you really m- meditate in silence and what you're requesting is connecting to the best for your
Mm.
life, that's another thing. You can't just request, I want $100,000 and but you want it to be for the better purpose of your life. Because not always because you get $100,000 that drops in your lap, you're gonna do good. So some things will not be manifested, but we don't know the answer because maybe it's not for the best for you. You have to always understand that because sometimes you might try. Some people pray, for example, that they want to be with a certain person and this person is married. This is an example. Why doesn't that happen? Because that's not something that is connected to love, which is the highest vibration, which is what I work with. So is very different. So every circumstance is different, but I can tell you from my personal experience that if you are connected to source love and you make uh that connection when you're in silence and you do that every day. And not every day is you have to ask for something. You could just ask for guidance. Because when you ask for guidance, you know what happens? It opens up your third eye, it opens up your heart chakra, and what it does, it's going to center you to what your true purpose is. And maybe it's not winning the lottery after all.
Mm.
Maybe it's you want to paint. Maybe it's you want to work with kids. Maybe you want to work with you don't even know that. Because we're so caught up in life and paying bills that we forget what our true purpose is. So it's not always manifesting just, money or this or that. Let's try to center ourselves to see exactly what our true purpose is.
So you're showing this house around after hitting the jackpot, Fantasy 5, 50 grand. You let your husband know. What was the process like getting the money? How long afterwards did you actually get the money?
So that's fairly easy. You go to they have an office here in Miami Lakes. And so you ask for your ID if all of your paperwork is correct with the Internal Revenue and all that stuff. Then they just give you a check. I went to the bank and I signed my lottery check like I always thought I was going to. And I'm going to win again.
Really?
I'm going to win. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Are you
Oh,
playing the
yeah.
Mega Millions right now? It's like a half a billion.
I play off and on because I don't make that like the center of my life. I just find it to be that I can manifest it. I can manifest that. perfectly because I already have that feeling. I already experienced it in my mind and also in my life. And I know it can be done. It can be done. We can manifest
Mm.
anything. It's just that, first of all, you need to be connected.
S- s-
First of all,
s-
not out of greed or things
that's a
like
great
that.
point
No.
because I'm wondering, was there something that um is there a feeling that you have before you go and play the lottery? And with that said, do you play every round? What are your lottery purchasing habits like?
Oh, no, no. I made a couple of dollars. I don't know, maybe 5 a week sometimes. Sometimes I don't plan the whole week. I don't make that as part of something that is going to give me the happiness that I already
Mm,
have, the fulfillment that I have, because I'm very grateful. Because remember, we're here only for a limited time. And so I believe a lot in lessons that we need to learn in life, and so I really don't see that as something that it's not necessary. I mean, if you're good where you're at, and if you're tied with money, there's many other things that you can do in your life to try to maneuver yourself to a different place. But lottery itself, yeah, we you can win. I promise you. You can do it. You can. But it's not something that you should be infatuated with because there's so many other things before that that you need to do, and once you do all that, I promise you, I've had so many clients of mine that after they learn how to actually have a relationship with themselves and with the creator and just be blessed with everything they already have, they don't even think about that anymore,
so somebody, yeah.
because yeah, when you manifest something, it doesn't have to be just the lottery. Let's suppose you want $100,000. Let the universe take care of that. It doesn't have to just be with the lottery. It can come from any other source. You have no idea. I mean, so many other things can happen that are good to you that you can actually acquire that money. You never know.
And Sandra, that's a great point because when you reached out to me, you had mentioned you've been on the Timothy Schultz show. I interviewed Timothy. He had
Mhm.
a very vivid dream just a few months before he won.
Mhm.
And I know from the few videos I watched of his, a lot of the lottery winners that he brings on have had some sort of either manifestation or had a feeling that they were going to win or dreamt it or had a vision or even knew the name of the clerk that was going to sell them the ticket. So for someone like me, if some viewers are watching this and they go, this seems kind of a little out there, turns out a lot of lottery winners have had more similar experiences like you who've won, attribute it to something
Mhm.
mystical, either a manifestation or prayer or a dream, or a vision, versus someone who just wins from just outright pure luck. Even though, the odds are horrible,
Yeah,
but there's something mystical attached to them.
right. I mean, I do believe in alignment more than luck. I think when you're aligned to your purpose or your manifestation, it's much easier for that to evolve into reality. So alignment is really important. I've had a lot of experiences with spiritual souls. I want to say I had an accident a couple of years back where my car skid and it went down on it like a hill. I want to say it was in the turnpike here in I-75, and there was angels that came inside the car, and they told me that everything was going to be okay, and it was the most beautiful uh sound. It was a music, but I can't really explain how that it felt so it was real because I felt it in my soul. And they told me you're gonna be okay, nothing's gonna happen. So the car was skidding and then it stopped. And I was saying to myself, God, please, I hope nothing happens to me because I have to take care of my kids. And when the car stopped, they told me, "You're just gonna break a nail." And I broke a nail, and that's the only thing that happened. The car didn't even turn off. And then when the helicopter came and all the cops came, they thought that I was something was wrong with me inside, internal, because, of all you know, the twirling of the car, but nothing happened to me. And I've had many experiences like that from, you know, spirits, and like I say, we're spiritual beings. We have to connect to that because it's very real, and they're here to protect us, to protect all of us.
With that said, I want to see if we could speak directly to the viewers who are watching this right now. And they're saying, maybe thinking in their own mind, Sandra, you said that one of the pillars to, manifestation is sitting in silence for a few minutes. And maybe
Hmm.
their lives are reflective of what many Americans deal with every day, or anyone around the world, which is working a 9 to 5. Some of those people aren't just doing 40 hours a week, they're doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week just to make ends meet. They're in the office and they're getting
Yeah.
overwhelmed with a bunch of tasks. They're outside of work and they're either dealing with, tough relationships or good relationships, or the lives of their children. And maybe outside of work, they also live a hectic lifestyle and they're like, gosh, I just can't catch a breath. Speaking to them directly, Sandra, how can they start implementing these steps you're talking about, whether it's to win the lottery, but what I'm gathering is this is actually much more than that. It's so they could improve their lives in
Hmm.
so many more important ways.
Yeah. So, 5 minutes is not a lot in a life span daily, 3 minutes. You need to take that time, because I do feel that a lot of people think that it can't be done, but once they start, then they go to 10 minutes, because I've seen them, and then they go to 15, and then they separate 10 minutes, and then they separate 25 minutes out of their day because of how they feel. It's like a recharge of your life because you're connected to source. And even though there's chaos, you're very centered. It's like when there's something happening and you see some people that are yelling and some are not. Those people that are not, they're pretty centered. They're seeing what's happening, but they're not reacting to it. Because then you become part of the problem, and you can't do that. You're connecting to that, and you don't want to do that. So when you have this awareness, it'll be much easier when you have conflicts in your life and you see that everything is very hectic, but you're centered. You come back to that, and it will help you. I mean, I tell some of my students, I tell them, listen, when you're showering, when you're washing your hair, and that water is coming down, that's a blessing. Take that minute, close your eyes, and just feel peace. Once you start feeling that peace, you're gonna want that. You want to come back and do it again and do it again. See, so it's a lifestyle, you know. Like I tell them.
And
Hmm.
I was going to ask, does environment matter where they practice this? But it sounds like this is something that can be done even in the shower. Um, so
Yeah.
when they're trying to get into this zone, what should they be thinking about? Like, I know historically with like meditation, and these days there's all sorts of different kind of meditations. You want to like anchor yourself to your breath. And sometimes there's guided meditations where, uh, they guide you through different prompts. But for what you're talking about, what should they be thinking about or not thinking about when they're practicing this?
Well, breath, as you mentioned, is very important because that's why we're here, because we're still breathing. So breath is very important. When you breathe from your belly. So a lot of people don't even know how to breathe. You breathe in, your belly comes out, and then you release it. That's how you should start your meditation. At least do that 5 to 7 times. And then try to center yourself in a place where you feel peace, whether it's the beach, uh, a forest, somewhere peaceful. And then just slide into that so you're in silence with whatever you're thinking. When I say in silence, I also mean your brain. Try to see if you can be in silence so you can absorb and connect to your higher source, your higher purpose. I connect to love. You can't go wrong with that. You really can't. Because you see, there's so many things that are happening in this world, and they're all based on hate, and that's why there's so much chaos and confusion. You know, because that frequency is a never-ending frequency of trying and trying and getting more and this and that. When you're in the other frequency, you want peace, you want to be centered, and you want to feel that you are guided with purpose. Because if not, it's chaotic, and you don't want to be
Mm.
there. You know.
So you mentioned earlier this difference between kind of religion and spirituality for people who pray when they are in the midst of the prayer. And I'm saying for people who pray, but in my practice is, pray for different things, for guidance, for confirmation, for a better relationship and connectivity with my higher power, which is God. And to ask that he protects me and guides me and the people that I love. And sometimes it's how can I be of service to my community, which I probably should implement more often. But it in the
Mhm.
midst of just the life that you're talking about, like to find this time into this practice. Um, it takes a little bit of discipline, and maybe it's habit building where you do it more often and it kind of becomes part of your daily routine. Now, my question for you specifically is, for me, if I'm praying for these things, there's almost kind of like this ask, right, from the higher power. When it comes to like meditation and manifesting, when you're in that zone of purpose and silence and connectivity, is there an ask? Or where does like that step come in where you're trying to manifest it into into the real world?
It's basically connection. You want to connect. See, when I mention alignment versus luck, you want to be aligned to the higher source, which is our creator, and you want to be aligned
Mm.
to that. I see a lot of people that say, I want to have a job that's $100,000. I want to get this job that's $200,000. First of all, connect and say, I'm good with what I have, and I am blessed with what I have. And it would be great if I would get this, but make sure that that's for my highest purpose and for my true happiness. Because happiness is very important. Because if you don't have happiness, you don't have anything. And a lot of people forget that because they're so busy trying to make life that they forget to be happy. They don't even know what that is.
Right. And from what I'm gathering is like there's this maybe in the daily life, if people want to categorize it as being in the rat race, there's like want, achieve, achieve, achieve. From what I gather from what you're saying is there first has to be this element of acceptance. Is that right?
Exactly. Exactly. Because, that's a frequency that's connected to love. Acceptance in the sense that um, what you have right now, you should you should honor that, and so it can take you to where you want to go. But you need to also do the art of allowing. The art of allowing is very important. When you allow things to happen and you try to see what is the lesson to be learned, and this that just happened in my life. So you can't go against it. You have to, because remember, everything in life, either you learn or you suffer. If you're still suffering over things that are happening in your life and you're not sure why they're happening, it's because you haven't learned your lesson. There's a lesson for everything,
You s-
everything.
you said
It's
something
really
that's
important.
really interesting. The art of allowing. Um, w- can you
Mhm.
dive deeper into what that means?
Okay, so I suggest your beautiful audience again to get the book for Abraham Hicks. That's called The Art of Allowing. Um, because it's going to show you that many things are going to happen in your life that you say, why did this happen to me? I'm such a good person. Why did this happen to me? There's a lesson to be learned. And because it might have happened to you because you're strong and you have purpose. And from that happened that is negative, you're going to turn it into something positive. You have to live life. You can't let life live you. You can't. We're here for a purpose, and it's only to learn. It's everything is an experience. Like I tell people, of course you wanna have abundance, you wanna have the fancy car, you wanna have the ring, you wanna have everything, you wanna have everything. I get it, but you already have everything because 'cause you're here, and we're a spiritual being. So from there, we move into everything else. So when you do that, then you don't need a lot of things because 'cause you're good. You're good. And then things happen to you faster. You can manifest faster because you're in a frequency that is pure acceptance of love, and that's all there is. That's all there is. And things might happen, but your reaction is going to be so much different when you learn this technique because you're gonna see life completely different. When things happen to you that you're like, "Wow, look at this. Look if it just happened to me." And then you step back and you say, "Wait, what can I learn from this?"
So let's say people start practicing this. What is a sign, if there is any, that something good is about to happen to them?
You have a feeling. You feel good with where you're at and what's going on in your life. You live in acceptance. And it's not because you're a pushover, you accept everything that happens to you, but you can't fight things that happen to you that you cannot change. The ones that you can change, then work towards those and align to what is your best purpose at that moment so you can change that. But don't fight it, okay? Because that frequency is low and you don't want that. Like when I said in the beginning, the living in lack, it brings you more lack. If you know that you're short on your rent and you say it a million times, that's not going to get you anywhere. You see what I'm saying? So when you speak, that has an immense vibration and immense power. There's three aspects in life. Your relationship, your health, and your wealth. How do you connect to those three and try to make them as balanced as possible is very important. Because if you lack on one, then you're
Mm.
not happy. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the relationship with you is so important. And once you have that, what are you going to bring out to everybody else is really good because you're already centered. You're good.
Yeah, and you hear the notion out there, they ask people like, "Hey, are you a glass half empty or a glass half full type of person?"
And
Uh, I don't know if I'm either. I think it varies. Sometimes I feel like I'm glass half empty. Sometimes I'm optimistic. Sometimes I'm pessimistic. Sometimes I'm skeptical.
yeah.
I think it varies for a lot of people, right? Like some days you're going to be on one end or the other. But I know that throughout my life, when I have been optimistic, when I've been content, when I've been kind of welcoming and engaging and feeling like I can connect it to others, is when usually a lot of good things happens to me, whether it's in my career or my personal life or my material life. But there are times where I've been in desperation. There has been, through the course of life, you're going to experience trauma, you're going to experience tragic events, you're going to experience death in the family. And, through prayer, in a low state, like some, miracle would happen, or maybe there's an epiphany that I have. But on a day-to-day basis, it's when I am connected and feel good about myself and I'm optimistic that I feel that blessings happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
For you, what is your experience with that? Are you usually in a good state of mind when good things happen?
I'm very neutral. That's really important because we are here and we live in a society in this world and not everyone can be a monk and live somewhere for years. You understand? I'm not saying anything against them, but we have to adapt to where we are. And there's a lot of things that are happening that probably don't resonate with what I feel. That's why I need to be very neutral. Because if you're always happy, and it's really hard, to be happy 24/7. And if you're always down, your life is miserable. So you want to be right in the middle. So you're aligned. You're aligned. That's why I say many times that the art of allowing is really important because that's going to help you so much because you're going to see things different. And also, everything is an experience.
Is there an element of being selfless in any part of this equation? Because I find when I'm constantly thinking about myself or how can I benefit for something, or if I catch myself always praying just for my own blessings, praying for my own protection. Sometimes, like when I go out into society, there is kind of this, I guess, selfish feeling. When I become aware of that, it's kind of like distasteful. And so, like in any part of the manifestation or the meditation, um, is there an element where you kind of minimize yourself, or does the ego play a part of any of this where you're more, I don't know if that ties into the neutrality, but what do you make of that, of praying for our
Um,
own stuff and yeah.
yeah, the ego, um, is really difficult. A lot of people, don't understand the power of it. So you need to diffuse that ego because that's basically what ruins a lot of lives, your ego. So when I say to you, have a relationship with yourself in a spiritual way, because you're a spiritual being, once you connect to that, your ego will start dying. And once it starts dying, it doesn't have that power over you. And then you see things much different. And automatically you won't want me, because it
Mm,
won't make you feel good because it's dead. You're killing it. You're diffusing it. It's not you're not giving it the power. Remember, you have the power to do anything. We have the power to do anything, good
right.
or bad, good or bad. So the ego, which is a great point, has a big part of your life. Once you and you'll see it by the way you feel, because nothing is enough. You see what I'm saying? Just people that have like 20 cars and 3 houses, or they have everything, and they're still running around getting more. That's the ego trying to kill you. The ego will take you to your death, and it will still not be enough. You need to detach from that. Okay? We want to emulate more God and the purpose of why we're here. You see?
Some parts of this interview you talked about having students. I know you're a real estate broker. Are you a spiritual? I think you reference yourself as, I'm a real estate broker, and some people call you a spiritual broker. Is that a? Do you have a, like a practice or a company where you help people out who want to learn more about this stuff?
Yeah, so we have a practice, my sister and I, called Divine Assignments. And it's a DNA activation that we do. And I also do a lot of tapping, which I have my own modality. And I work a lot with the energy of the person so I can shift their frequency and their energy. And if you'd like, then we can put the link if you'd like.
Yeah.
And it's called DNA activation. And you would have to read about it so you understand, because everyone's different, because your life is not mine, your past life is not my past life, because it works a lot with that as well. And, it's very beneficial to a lot of, I mean, you could look at the reviews. That I always say, "Listen, look at the reviews." They speak for themselves. And it helps a lot. Anything you do for you to nurture your soul is life. We don't do that enough. You know, God lives within us, not outside of us. He lives within us, and so we need to nurture that. You know, anything you do for your soul, it can only be beneficial for you. So you want to take the time to see how you can benefit from so many things that there are now, because I know there's so many things going out there. But you look into it, it really it has helped me immensely all my life because I've been doing it, but I have seen it throughout my, all of my students. It has helped them immensely, and it's called DNA activation. Yeah.
And Sandra, as we conclude this, from everything I've gathered, because of your practices, because of the manifestation, because of respecting your body and kind of constantly being in the state of gratitude and acceptance, you feel that this helped you win the lottery. And I don't even know if helped is the right word. It happened, because that's what this whole thing is about, right?
Yeah, it's alignment. See, so it's
Yeah.
not more luck. Oh, you're lucky. No,
Right.
I'm aligned.
Mm.
Lucky to me is something very wishy-washy, and I don't like wishy-washy. I like to be aligned. It's much more easier, and it's much more powerful. Use your power. We all have this power. We
Mm.
wanna use it, you know? We're here for a bigger purpose, and I'm so glad that I had this opportunity to speak, um, my thoughts, and hopefully it resonated with your audience for because, for the better purpose of all of us, because we need more love in this world. Absolutely.
Sandra, is there anything I didn't ask that you'd like to share?
I want people to know that winning the lottery is fabulous. It's exciting, and a lot of people I know are hopeful in winning the lottery, but there's so many other lotteries in life that you already have, like your kids, your family, if you have a great job that you love, or your profession, or so many other beautiful your health. Your health is really important. That's a lottery. Some people are fighting right now for their health. So, yeah, we want to take things into perspective and know first and foremost that we're spiritual beings. First and foremost. And yes, we have a human experience. Yeah, you're human, and we need to evolve as that, but at the end that is truly what we are in the core of our being.
Sandra, I love that we're ending on such a beautiful sentiment. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining the
Mhm.
BW report.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.
Bye.